Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Once I get on a roll. Hey, today's November 30th, 2016, and I went to Dr. Pieczenik's website today at stevepieczenik.com. You might want to go there and look at this. He also has a blog and the YouTube channel, but stevepieczenik.com. And as I said, he's pretty much pushing for David Petraeus as the Secretary of State. And he lists some other people there, you know, Bolton and Romney and a couple of others. And I just wanted to address this. As I said in my last video, I'm not going to offer to Donald Trump any objections to anything else as far as people he picks from now on. It's just, you know, it's past any influence that I could possibly bring. But because Dr. Pieczenik did take the position officially that I said he had, I wanted to address what he's done. And this is no disrespect, I should say, to Dr. Pieczenik. It's a difference of opinion. His comes from a long line, his opinion and his ideas come from a long line of experience, training, all of those things. And I understand that. But I come from the position that what's most important right now is, in fact, the Republic, and that we cannot have prior bad blood in the top levels of our government any longer. If the head is rotten, the body dies. And I just don't think it's worth taking a chance on those who've already shown their true colors. And David Petraeus is one of those. So that's the reason why I'm standing in an opposing viewpoint to Dr. Pieczenik. So without further ado, I prepared a little statement here, and some of this is going to seem a little outlandish. Just understand that we need to look ahead, not to what people have done in the past. That's our problem, because at least not as far as those who have been in the government at those top levels. We need to wash that clean. So let me read this, and I apologize for reading it. I'll try to hold it up high enough where I don't look down too much. So this is my statement that I'd like to make today. As I surmised, Dr. Steve Pieczenik came out basically supporting David Petraeus as Trump's Secretary of State over 4 other quote-unquote straw men he lists as possibilities. When I saw Dr. Pieczenik's list of requirements for the experience and qualities needed by a Secretary of State, it was evident he wrote the requirements to fit David Petraeus, a popular technique of the quote-unquote old boy network, and the revolving door of the military having jobs made for them upon their retirement. Noticeably absent from Dr. Pieczenik's list of qualifications, requirements, is integrity and support for the Constitution of the United States. Petraeus has negated those on several levels. His allegiance to Kissinger and the New World Order, his violation of his oath by saying the U.S. is finished and the North American Union is in, his violation of security regulations, his surge in Southwest Asia, which was really nothing more than paying the enemy with American dollars to stop fighting, which had the second purpose of helping to increase the debt of Americans, his ignoring of the facts of the Pat Tillman assassination, his stand to infringe on the Second Amendment, his surveillance initiatives over the American people while director of the CIA, and those are just to mention a few. Further, Dr. Pieczenik says that senior officers abhor sending our young to war. And you know I'm against women in the military, the combat arms, absolutely 100%. And there are reasons for that. It has nothing to do with sexism. It has to do with survival of the species. But anyway, that's another issue. Sorry, I interrupted my statement. Let me start that paragraph over. Further, Dr. Pieczenik says the senior officers abhor sending our young to war, and such insight is critical to prevent civilian leaders from so engaging. On the contrary, anyone at the level of Petraeus is a vetted tool of the military-industrial complex, and war is its currency and nature, not for the defense of the country, but for its own power. Remember, Eisenhower warned of the military-industrial complex. So I'm not the only one with this viewpoint. An example, and I will refrain from the names for now, we recently had several senior officers in generals typical of this class. And what I mean by this class is those who graduated about the same time I did and were commissioned around 1974 to 76. And those commissioned the same general time as Petraeus, talking about inflicting casualties on Russians to fill body bags, conveniently failing to state that body bags will also be filled by Americans. That bravado I saw in the U.S. Army Command and General Staff College in 1990, where officers were upset they could not go to war to obtain their promotions because they were in school instead. That, knowing, as I did, that Saddam was baited by Ambassador Gillespie, who said to Saddam that the U.S. would not get involved if it invaded Kuwait. While there are exceptions among senior officers to this problem, that pool has been slowly deprecated with the Obama purges, and Petraeus is not a patriot. He is an opportunist, sworn to the New World Order, and will sell out Trump to the New World Order in the long run, if not the short run. I agree I do not have the broad knowledge and experience of Dr. Pieczenik, and my familiarity with possible cabinet candidates is limited. But I do have the common sense to know that you cannot teach these old dogs new tricks. They have proven who they are, and the best indicator of future performance is past behavior. Off the cuff, I would say someone like Ambassador Stevens, who was killed in Libya, would be a #1 possibility if he were alive. What am I saying? What I'm saying is this. Trump can look internally to the State Department for a possible candidate. Why not? Why not? The learning curve for the office of Secretary of State is likely not as long or difficult as Dr. Pieczenik suggests, especially if Dr. Pieczenik offered his assistance. It's time to let new blood and ideas trailblaze us into the future, not tie us to the past. So, I will venture a few possibilities for Trump to vet outside the State Department, if the State Department's not viable for him. And this is not an exhaustive list, and some of these suggestions might seem laughable. But, and I emphasize, none so laughable as oathbreaker David Petraeus. And I've only got 4 names here. Governor Huckabee, former Governor Sarah Palin, former Governor Jan Brewer, and a very elegant and intelligent man, James Corsi. It's just a very short list, and like I say, some of those might seem a little ridiculous, but none so laughable as a proven oathbreaker and someone who stands against the Constitution of the United States despite his oath of office. Petraeus' integrity is in jeopardy. It's been, there is no integrity there. There isn't. And I'm sorry to have to say that about a senior officer, but that's par for the course today in far too many instances. So I just had to address Dr. Pieczenik's formal offer that it should be David Petraeus, and as you can tell, I must know Dr. Pieczenik fairly well because I saw him coming with that. I knew it was going to happen. So I hope that this video makes it to people who are in positions of decision-making power within the Trump administration. I'm not going to make those efforts because I think it's presumptuous on my part. I've gone far enough by just stating my opinion. And considering the source, me, I don't know if they'd even want to admit they got the idea from me. And that's okay. So I'll leave